Cool. Take a deep breath. Voyagers log, number 3. Week 44, day 300. The time is 2:09. Let's begin. Howdy, I'm your host, Tony Drake, and with me, I have my co-host, my brother, Ahmed.
Howdy.
Good afternoon, Ahmed.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Voyagers Path for those who are tuning in for the first time, a podcast where we focus on progressing in life through self-development, exercising discipline, and cultivating wisdom. Joining us today is a very special guest and a good friend of mine, Tracey Jackson. Good afternoon, Tracey.
Good afternoon.
Doing okay? Doing okay?
I'm good.
Good.
Good to hear.
Just a little recap from the previous episode. Ahmed and I touched base on what was new to the show, kind of how we are revamping it. We visited some previous topics like the relationship dartboard and being wise with your time, energy, and attention. And why does one need to be wise with how they're using their time, energy, and attention, Ahmed?
Because they can't get that back.
Because they can't get that back. So, today, forgive me. We also discussed defining what being at your best looks like. And in my case, I used a term, and after talking with my father, my friends, and some other people, I found that the term the nuts was not the most, widely acceptable term, even though there's the history there. However, I'll probably still use that term on occasion.
But what does the nuts mean?
Well, the point is that you need to define for yourself and give your own term to being, like we had discussed, eminently qualified or the best you can be or you at your 100%. So what you should be doing and focused on is thinking to yourself, okay, what do I look like when I'm at my best and how do I attain that and am I actually achieving that? And you should be dandy. And also, shout out to Pam Peterson, that book that I forgot.
That you got the term from?
Yeah, I got the book of forgiving was gifted by Pam Peterson, so thank you. I forgot. I felt terrible because I was saying it and I forgot who gave it to me. So I just wanted to make sure. It's a very good friend of my father's and someone I plan on meeting in person here soon, hopefully. But let's get crack-a-lackin' into Tracey Jackson. So we've already talked a little bit. I mean, I've known you for before COVID. I was working at some shop, and we'd meet every once in a while. You'd come in, we'd talk, have good times. I loved seeing you. And sadly...
Same here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel good. But you have an interesting story. And Tracey's story, I'm not going to steal his thunder. But he fits the category that we had mentioned last time, where we are trying to gain perspective on life. And like I'd said before, people kind of forget that death is coming and that death is just a part of life. It's the transition. And because of that, small, inconvenient things become world-ending and they become super significant and it just ruins your day. So I'll actually go ahead. What condition did you have, and what did you have to end up going through with your good old, what is it, Ticker. My God, Ticker.
Well, actually, when I first found out that I was having an issue, I went to the emergency room. Prior to that, I was kind of like just being my regular self, and then I felt like I was like having a cold or something.
Right.
And of course, my wife was like, "Yeah, you need to go to the doctor." I'm a dude. Oh,
I'm a man. I don't need to care.
Yeah. That's not a wise way to be sometimes.
Yeah.
But I would go on, and then I got progressively sicker. One night, I was having problems breathing, and I'm thinking, man, something's wrong. And so it had got so bad where I was like, if I don't get air soon, I'm not going to make it.
Man.
So I'm sitting up. It was about maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, just sitting up trying to breathe. And I heard a voice kind of go, do this. And I'll keep that part as real personal to me. And so I went and did it. And so I was trying not to wake her up.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I'm going to go upstairs and sit around for a while and see how I feel. Less than 20 seconds, I started feeling like I had, I was going to throw up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started throwing up, bathroom, mucus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I woke her up. So I got to take a shower. I feel great, but I need to go to the doctor. Of course, she was looking at me like,
I told you.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Got to take that one on the
Yeah.
chin. And so I went to the doctor, and this was during the height of COVID, man. It was like everything was going on.
Right.
Right.
And so I went to the doctor. She waited outside, of course, COVID protocols. So I go in, talk to the doctor, tell him what's going on. He said, let me do an x-ray. Comes back, tells me, say, your heart's enlarged. Sorry, man. I was at loss for words. So when he goes, your heart's enlarged, he put the x-ray up, and I looked at it and went, wow.
Big.
That's big.
How big was it?
It was like over here. It's
Up,
from
up.
I was like,
Wow.
and so, I'm not a doctor or an
Right.
x-ray technician or anything, but I was looking at it, and he was like, yeah, this is it.
This is your whole heart compared to.
No, it was just a
normal.
half.
Oh my God.
And so he said, well, in 7 days, you need to go see your doctor. I was like, okay. So he talked to me and said, hey, if you get a chance, let me know how you do and everything. I hope everything works out. I said, all right. So I walked out. She was sitting in the car. She was like, what'd they say? So I was like, well, he said I got an enlarged heart. I got to see the doctor in 7 days.
Mm.
And so I'm like, all right.
Like nothing. Yeah.
I need to go see a doctor. That's just kind of, I wasn't thinking in terms of panic.
Right.
I was like, well, I need to go see a doctor and see
'cause
where we're going from here.
Panicking won't help you too much there.
She thought I was joking. She was like, you got a what? I said, yeah. He said, I got to see a doctor. He said, I got a large heart. And so she was like, you kidding? I was like, no. And I'm just thinking in terms of, I got to go see a doctor. So I'm going to see doctors. And to shorten the story, I went through a battery of tests.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, well, first of all, let's see if, COVID or something's bothering you. Nothing. Any history? Nothing. So they wanted to see if I needed a stent. So they set me up for a test.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. And so one of my doctors, my cardiologist, I love this dude. He's straightforward. And I told him, that's the way I want you to be. I don't need you to sugarcoat this thing. Don't kid glove me. Just, this is what we need to do. Let's do it. And so I came out of the procedure, and he was like, okay, everything's fine. Oh, by the way, there's a cardiologist that happens to be here. Now I'm like, dude, you already done told this guy. Mm-hmm. And so the cardiologist came in. He said, hey, how you doing? We talked a little bit and got on the I'm old school.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Not the chalkboard, the other one.
Whiteboard?
Whiteboard.
There it is.
That was post my school days.
Post your school day.
Yeah, I used to have to clean erasers when I was younger.
Oh,
so,
man.
And so he told me the whole procedure, and then he said, hey, listen, I'd like to get you in the office and talk to you about it. I was like, okay. So I went to his office, and we talked about it, and I think this was in July. Yeah, it was in July. Yeah. And so he said, we're going to set up a date, and I think the first date was maybe the second week in August or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And let me know when I'm moving away from the mic if that's too far away. I don't know.
You're good.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Peachy.
And he said, well, we're going to set it up for like the second week in August. And he said, how's that? And I was like, then? And he went, oh, we could push it back. I was like, no, I thought you was going to say I can come in like in a couple of days and we can get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of started laughing. He was like, well, okay, I like you. You're not beating around the bush. I'm like, well, I mean, it's not like a hangnail.
Yeah, it's
my heart.
It's your heart.
So he said, okay. They set it up for a Wednesday. I think it may have been the 7th of August, if I'm not mistaken. And so I went home. They kind of told me what the prep was and all that. And I was like, okay. Now, mind you, all this time I've talked to my family.
Right.
Didn't tell a lot of people. It's not the business.
Right.
I ain't trying to feel all that energy. And so my mother's like, she wants to come down. I'm like, Ma, nobody can come, COVID. They're like, and I'm not familiar with, the COVID and the condition. So I'm like, no chances. I'm just king of isolation right now.
Play it safe.
Do what I got to do. And so the week before the surgery, they called me and they said, hey, we got an opening for Monday.
Okay.
That was me.
That was me. I'll take it.
And so they said, well, you need to come in Sunday. We're going to prep you, blah, 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 blah. So I went through the whole prep, and they talked to me about a couple of things, and I was just kind of, okay, yeah, fine, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And they rolled me in and in the surgical room, and I looked around. There was like 30 people, man. And I kind of looked around and went, wow. All y'all here for me? And they all kind of chuckled and, laughed. And the doctor's assistant, when I told you guys you're going to like him, he's here for it. He's trying to get what he needs to get done. He's not focused on the negative. His whole focus is, what do we need to do? Right. Let's get it done and just go on. And the next thing I remember, I was in ICU after that. But now, what they told me was that I had 2 bad valves, upper and lower valve, aortic valves, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so they had to replace those. So afterwards, I wake up, ICU. My son lives here, and and he wanted to come see me, but where he worked, the doctor was like, no.
Was it dealing with the public? Or?
Yeah, public job. He was like, no, no. So my cardiologist, again, cool dude. So and so I would talk to him about, well, family members want to come and see me and stuff like that. And he would always say, well, is your insurance and stuff paid up? And I'm like, I mean, why? He's like, because you're going to die.
Yeah. You do that pretty straightforward, man.
And it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I come at it with me. Tell me.
Let me know if I'm going to do something
don't
that's
play a
kill
violin
me.
and well, mate, no, I don't want to hear that.
You might die.
So he says, because I want to make sure your family's going to be taken care of if this is what you want to do.
Right.
So, okay, all right. So I had to tell everybody, hey, look, I'm here, I'm fine. We can talk, we can Zoom, whatever the case may be, but I can't see anybody.
Yeah, don't come see me.
Right.
Stay
Right. I got a Ring doorbell. I'll talk to you.
Right.
That was my mother. But no, that's a joke. That's a joke. But so through the whole ordeal, I never really focused on any what ifs.
Right.
The entire time I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the surgery. I got to get healthy. I got to get going again. That was just my entire mindset. And until just recently, have I started to think about the entire process. Now, March 25th of last year, I was supposed to go out of the country to a concert with a good friend of mine. We were excited, childhood friends. That was the week prior was the week that they said no more international travel.
Right.
So I was kind of like bummed out. I wasn't really sick then. And so that was one of the things I reflected on. So I talked to my cardiologist and I was like, hey man, if I would have took that trip, he told me you probably would have died.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, the pressure from the flight, because you were in bad shape, but you were always pretty healthy. So you didn't really, and it was all of a sudden, it wasn't a progressive thing. I was like, just like working out, playing golf, yard work. I'm the kind of guy.
You're moving.
Yeah,
you're moving
I'm
a whole
just like
lot.
doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden I just got like, boom. Then I wake up and I'm like, I got a zipper in the chest. And I'm like, yo, wow. So I'm thinking about all of this stuff, man. And again, until recently, have I started to like think back about like my friends, my family, and looking at it from their perspective as to what would have happened if. And I'm more thankful that I looked at the process
Right.
at the time the way I did, because that was no time for me to put anyone or anything in front of me taking care of me. So I needed to be in the right frame of mind, the right spirit, have the right thoughts, the right atmosphere, as much peace as I could have at that time in order to get to where I am today.
So you were pretty content going into the surgery, right? You were pretty...
I you know what, emotionally, I can't say that I really ever... I was more kind of like a machine.
Okay. Yeah, you just kind of turned off.
Tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
This is what I need to get done, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because I need to get on the other side of it, because I got things to do.
Right.
That type of mentality does have its place. You know, sometimes you just have to turn it all off and just...
Yeah, detach from it and just move forward.
Do
get
what
the
you
job
gotta
done.
do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So now the emotional parts are coming
Now,
in.
now it's coming.
And oh man, and I'm like, boy, this is really something. And the recovery has really kind of brought that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is honestly like the first time I really talked to people about this.
Yeah, which again, I really appreciate
I don't-
having you on here for.
Well, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. And so the process of all of it, the one thing that I've taken from this is that don't take your life for granted.
Right.
You know, there's a reason you're here. You know, your job is to find out what it is, get yourself prepared to do it the best you can, and whether you fall, regardless of how many times you fail or how many successes you have, the main thing is enjoy the ride.
Right.
Enjoy the ride, all
Enjoy
of
the
it.
ride.
Not pieces of it, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like when your parents put a plate in front of you and I don't want to eat broccoli. Yeah, I understand, but you're going to eat the broccoli.
So what do you do?
But you want to get to
enjoy
the cake and the juice.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What have you done to enjoy like the not so enjoyable stuff? Like, because you said, enjoy the ride, enjoy the whole thing, which
Mhm.
I agree with. Like, because you and I we talk a lot about the purpose, like the reason for it all, and we're kind of on the same level. And I agree. You need to enjoy the whole reason a person is here is to experience, to enjoy what life has to offer. But when bad things happen, what do you do to continue to enjoy and move on and move forward?
Well, that's
I got him with that one.
no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Sometimes controversy, pain. Sometimes what that brings out of you in that moment is something you need to internalize.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said, how'd you say it, the bad times? Or
Yeah, the not so enjoyable times.
In all honesty, in my life, what I've learned is sometimes those, what we perceive as the not so enjoyable times,
Mhm.
if you get through them, and when you look back, you find out that not only were they weren't not so enjoyable, and that's
Right.
depending on what it was, and that's each person's is different. It may have been one of the better moments for you because you take back more from it.
Tracey, I got to tell you, because whenever we had dinner with my dad, and I told you that every time he says something, I have to hear it from somebody else, and then like things start to click, and we're sitting at that dinner, like that's what, because we're in this transitional period. When I came back to Texas in 2018, we were living in a 5-bedroom house with 3 other people, and just I had a small room to myself. He had the master bedroom, and that was our house. We shared a kitchen with everybody, shared a living room and whatnot. And then from there, during COVID, we got a house. We got our own house, living together. Then we got the dogs and all that jazz. And right now, like, the biggest obstacle I have is kind of their marking, because we got 2 boys. we got two boy dogs, and then I have my own girl, and they got a lot of personality conflicts, let's just say. And so Saturdays we work a whole lot, and we're not home a whole lot. We get home, and there's kind of pee, especially when they're puppies. There's pee everywhere.
Oh yeah,
and that would just drive me crazy. And every time he was like, "Hey, this is," because he's a Marine. He's like, "This is your boot camp. This is what you have to go through, and you're not gonna like it right now. In the moment, it might not be the best thing for you, but just like boot camp for me, he says, for me, boot camp was. There was a time where I was like, "What the hell did I get myself into?" But after boot camp and looking back, I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I'm glad I did it. And just another. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I've heard that, and I get it. I'm glad you guys are on the same page, because that's nice to see the two. I know both of you guys are different and unique in your own ways, but like the principles of life and the laws of the universe, or whatever you want to call it, it's good to know that you can get it from different walks of life, and it's just nice. I kind of went on a tangent there, sorry, but
okay. Well, it is, and that's what that's really kind of what life is. There's certain principles that, regardless, they're going to stay the same.
Right.
How you encounter that is going to depend on where you are in your space, which is why when you meet people who want to push themselves on you, you have to be careful, because they're pushing their experience,
right,
their emotion, or their trauma on you. And you're not going to process that. You're not going to process it properly. What I found, some of the best people who like impart wisdom are those who, they don't try to tell you how to process it or apply it. What they do is they'll give it to you in the purest form that they possibly can, and tell you that, now, the way that this is going to fit for you may not fit the same way for someone else. So now you're looking at empathy, patience, so when you take things in, and when you begin to process things like that in your daily, it just tends to make things easier. There's times where you meet somebody and they'll say something to you, and you just kind of go, okay,
and
walk away.
I've been in that situation kind of, but that reminded me. I have a list of questions for you, and not that we need to stay on any form of a hardcore track here, but there are some questions that I wrote out last night.
Is it basic math? It's not too complex, is it?
I hope you can.
High school calculus.
I hope you can answer that. So you were talking about learning process, and your father, just like me, both of them were strong influences in our life. Your father's a strong influence in your life, just like mine was in my life. And he's taught you a lot. What would you say his process was to carry out his responsibility as a father to you? Because we briefly talked about that whenever we had our dinner. And you kind of talked a little bit about his process. But I'm sure there's something that you took from that that you learned and started to apply. What would that process be? Because I know you just kind of touched on it, right there, as to giving the most pure form. But is there another way to kind of explain that? Because doesn't necessarily connect automatically for me. Could you?
Well, not to make it too heavy and difficult, because it's not.
Right.
What my dad would do, and my mother, of course, when we were young, they would kind of like give us toys and little things to do. And I didn't know this at the time. We're just ice cream, Mr. Frosty and all that good stuff. And I didn't know at the time that they would watch us to see what we liked, see what drew us in, and then they would do things accordingly. And it was helping us to learn, because that was putting us in a position, oh, you like this, so you learn more because
Yeah.
this is what you're interested in. So in a way, my dad would take those things and like he would give you something to do and he would kind of form it based on that for each one of us. And it was always different because we're different.
Did you do that for your kids? Because I mean,
it worked.
It worked.
So there was no
So,
way
yeah.
I was not going to use that.
Okay.
Now, what do they say on the funny commercials? Results may vary.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess results did vary, huh?
Depending on the child, you know,
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
personality is different and so on.
Not everyone's the same. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the beauty of it all, because everybody's not the same. So why do we expect the same results from everyone?
Right. You
You
can't.
know.
I mean, you can't. That's a fault of most. Okay, I don't say most. Blanket terms are kind of dangerous here, but it's still like most conflicts come from miscommunication, misunderstanding, misconceptions, and whatnot. And so when you're trying to enforce A, B, and C onto someone, you can't expect the same results on another person, and
Right.
that's what I think a lot of like our education system.
Like teachers.
Well, some teachers, like the good teachers, they know they have to switch it up, and they have to give certain levels of attention to different people in certain categories.
Not every student's the same.
Yeah, but then those bad teachers, the ones that piss everybody off, it's like they're rigid and they don't move. There's no balance there. It's just one.
I have a question about that.
Shoot.
So what's their value?
What do you mean? Like where their value is?
There's value in everything.
Oh, the value is like, okay, don't do that. It's the learning from them as to what not to do. Right? Is that a trick question?
No, it's not.
I'm right there.
No.
Okay.
It's not a trick question because that's one of the things about learning. You know, you learn from everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to. Once you know fire is hot and it burns,
You don't have to go pick it up again.
Well, this is a different fire. Let me see if it's still hot. At some point, we got to go. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But even with rigid teachers or quote unquote extremist racists, all of the isms and phobes and all, there's something to be learned.
Yeah.
You know, the problem that I see, in my humble opinion, that most of us have is that we want to push our personal onto people.
Right.
One of the things I've learned about life is that a lot of the golden rules, they're golden. They really are.
Yeah.
If you just personally just did that, everybody's
set.
good.
Yeah.
Everybody's good.
What did your dad say? He said the only truth is what? Only truth is.
Oh no, my dad. I used to argue with my dad.
Yeah.
He would say things, and he knew I didn't know. But I'm young, and I'm like, "No, Dad, you're getting old. I know." And he told me, "Son, the only religion is truth."
Yeah, there we go. Only religion is truth. I messed it up.
And I was like, I was young. I was like, "Oh no, Dad, no." He's like, "Oh, it's okay, son. It's okay.
Right.
I'll just
You-
tell
you
you
have
this.
your-
I'll keep living."
Yeah.
And
We'll get there.
he would always tell us that whenever we would want to banter, he would always allow us to banter. He actually taught us the proper way
To banter?
with your parents.
I see.
Because a good parent wants you to banter. I'd rather banter with my children, go back and forth with them about things,
Right.
than somebody in the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I love them. I want the best for them. And I'm going to teach them that. And I want them to be able to, well, I don't agree with that. And even if they disagree with it and say, well, I disagree with that, and I'm just not going to do it. Now, that's levels, because at certain ages, you know, okay, all right, I get that. But then at a certain age, it's kind of like, now you're trying to cost me money.
Right.
So that's fine if that's what you want to do, but you got to get out of here and go do it.
It's like that. Have you seen Fences? Or
Yes.
no? Yeah,
Yes.
it's like that whole, why not buy a TV for $200? Well, the roof to be repaired is like $260. So you can go make your own money and you go buy that TV. And it's a
Well, those, and again, those are things that people learn along the way.
right.
And a lot of the things that I've learned is it doesn't matter how much money, how much fame, all the accolades that you could receive, all of that stuff. It I don't want to be heavy on it, because to accomplish things is a good thing,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you know. But to put that above the human experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Then you're doing something wrong. You're kind of out of
well,
balance.
you're doing not only a disservice to those around you, but you're doing a major disservice to yourself, because you're more than that.
Well,
You know, I mean, seriously, accomplishments are great,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and having a lot of money is fantastic. Not that I have a lot of money, don't
oh sure.
don't go there with me.
Well, real quick, that is for the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put a quick pause right there
Right.
and transition to the next one. But that was good. That was a lot of good
A
info
lot to
right
take
there.
in.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do here is get a song from good old Mr. Tracey Jackson.
Or a message.
Well, the message will be the next one. But we'll get a quick song. So go ahead and drop a song. What's the song recommendation for the young folk out there, or old folk, or just folk?
I'll start it this way real quick. And I'm under the impression you're asking me a song
Yeah.
about me or something that references how I feel about things.
Usually.
Okay, all right. Now we're getting something.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs, it's a go-to song, is by one of my favorite artists. His name's Pat Metheny.
Mm-hmm.
And the song is titled "We All Live Here," and it's instrumental. And I tend to like jazz and classical music.
Right. I noticed.
Instrumentals because my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Because the music allows the listener to process what they're feeling. A lot of songs with lyrics, they're kind of telling you, which I have no issue with that, but
Yeah.
I prefer to process
What
what
you
I'm
wanna
processing
feel.
Mm-hmm.
with me, and it'll stick with me. But yeah,
Song. So Pat Metheny, we all live. Metheny.
yeah, Metheny, we live here.
We live here. Lovely. Well, looking at the time, since this is our first kind of interview with the revamp and doing the whole 30-minute episodes, I mean, I think it's safe to say we'll just continue on, because it's still just another 20 minutes. We'll just continue on,
Okay.
and we'll see if I need to edit it or something into 2 parts. But I really don't think that's necessary, because honestly, conversations like this, when it comes to interviews and talking, it flows so well, and it's hard to. I don't want to contain it. You know, I don't want to end it or wrap it up or cut the flow or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we'll just roll on. We'll just keep on going.
Okay.
That was
You're winging it?
well. I got questions here. I'm not winging nothing.
Sure, yeah.
But it was more like, okay, do we cut it in half? Do we not? I don't think we will. So there was something I didn't get to ask just yet,
Mm-hmm.
which I realized I should have way in the back. But you were born 1964 or what? 1999?
64.
64. So
That was a Prince song, wasn't it? 1990.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge. I just know. Is it Purple Rain?
That's Prince.
That's Prince. Sorry, that's like, and I'm not even a huge Prince guy. While you were growing up as a kid, what were some influences coming up? Besides, like, obviously your father, your parents. You got, as it seems, you have some pretty
man.
solid
My third
parental
grade teacher,
Your
man.
third grade
Really?
teacher. Third grade.
Oh man.
What did they do in third grade?
Mrs. Davenport.
You know
yeah.
their name? I don't even know mine.
Oh man. Well, you know, she wore the cat eye glasses,
Oh.
the chain,
Mm-hmm.
and she had the jewelry, bracelets clinking all
All the way to her
time.
elbows.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Just
fashionably,
about. Fashionably.
and always had the perfume and smelled great. But she gave me the gift that keeps giving. The love of learning.
Okay.
Okay.
I see, Mr. Bookworm. Got it.
And boy, I tell you what, I could never, ever, ever be thankful enough for that.
How did she give you that gift? She just
Well-
provided books, or told you, hey, don't be dumb, you should read, or
No,
What?
no. And it's a two-part thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Real quick. One part of that is that my parents did well preparing us.
Yeah, obviously,
Mhm.
which is amazing.
That's 90% of it.
Yeah.
And when we would be in the class, 57 years old, we're called in the third grade.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Mhm.
That's what books
It's
do.
not like I'm
I don't think you,
old.
even I remember what happened in third grade.
I don't. Before 8th grade, I'm out of the I don't even know. It's gone for me.
But it was just the way that she was with us, you know. And not only would she correct us when we were wrong or slacking,
Mhm.
she would always commend us and show us appreciation for doing well. And then
Right.
she would give you assignments to do little things, read books, and you know, if you did well in class, then you know she would like, okay, you get to do this.
Yeah, kind of positive.
Yeah,
reinforcement.
positive reinforcements. You know, whether you did good or bad, they were positive reinforcements. Oh yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, getting sent to the principal's office for acting up—that's a positive reinforcement.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, it's letting you know, that don't work.
Okay. Well, I thought that's not negative reinforcement.
No, it's not negative. Had you not did what you did, would you be going there?
Well, it's a negative outcome, right? Or am I just messing
Because
up
of your action.
But that's a positive thing because you learned from that, and now you're not going to do it anymore.
Okay, well, yeah, if you learn from it, but like if
Sooner or later you're gonna learn.
yeah,
You know,
okay,
You can learn now. You can learn
or
later.
you can learn later.
I think that later might be a little more painful
Usually is.
and costly. So
Yeah.
But yeah, she gave me the love of learning, man, and
Okay.
I could never ever repay her for that.
Right.
Thankful for that.
So, second part to that one. That was you and your kind of, was adolescence is still appropriate to use, or is adolescence like teenager? Remind me. Either of you know?
Pretty sure adolescence
astounding.
is more teenager.
Okay. Well, as a kid.
Preteen.
Preteen. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Preteen. So, the reason you like I had said before, gaining perspective as to kind of like a wake up call. Whenever you're told you are going to have open heart surgery, for most people, if they're kind of living the rat race mentality, the 9 to 5, they're focused on the material and not so much them with the human experience.
Mhm.
That's usually a wake up call, and they usually snap out of it or something. That's kind of what you hear. But in your case, you're pretty different. You're very unique. You are already in that mindset most people, it takes them years to get to at such a young age. You're what? I would from hearing you talk and from your stories, I mean, obviously you're growing. You grow every day, and from your third grade year, I'm sure you've changed and adopted and gained new perspective all the way into your 50s. So what kind of helped you get to that point? Because for most people, it's that, like I said, it's that snap into reality that, hey, life is going to end soon. What have I been doing, and how have I been doing it? But for you, you've already been aware of that. And so what were some of those influences that brought that to life, that brought that into reality before it was kind of before your later years?
Well, I think I think that we all, in a sense, have that awareness. It's just a matter of becoming aware
Of the
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
kind of corny in a way.
Yeah.
But it's very, very, very true. You know, and a lot of the times, well, the main thing is your environment. You know, the environment that you come up in, you're educated in, even when you're outside playing with your friends when you're young. You know, interactions with family, all of that. That's what does it. And when you start studying self, you'll find that most of the things that people talk about are things you kind of did as a child.
Hmm.
It was kind of rough, you know, but you did it, you know, and as an adult, you tend to want to fine tune no, it's gotta, and sometimes no. So it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's okay to be sort of childlike, not in a irresponsible or silly manner, but to kind of see the joy in a lot of things, and to experience pain, emotional pain, just normal things like that. But you'll find that we've all had we're all kind of that way.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talked to my wife, and one of the blessings that I can definitely say that has helped me through so much is just how my parents are.
Right.
It's
Which is amazing to hear.
I mean, it's kind of like how you couldn't give me enough money to give away the things they taught me. There's no way. I watch people and they struggle, and
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they struggle with a lot of things, and doesn't make them bad, doesn't make them good. It's just
Where they're at.
right.
Yeah.
But my parents did things in a way I'm still learning. I tell people this one thing, and I'll be quiet for a minute. I was working on something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
What was it, a faucet? I think
Okay.
I was putting
Okay.
a faucet in.
Got it.
And so I needed this tiny, tiny, tiny Allen wrench.
Right.
So when I looked in my toolbox, didn't have it, something I had to go to the store. Then all of a sudden, it clicked. My dad had one of those, what do you call it, with the little pocket thing?
What, just a front pocket?
No, the little plastic thing that fits in your,
I have no idea,
Like
man.
keychains or something?
no, like
No,
the,
like a case?
with the pins that
Oh.
they say the nerds have.
The like
Oh, like the
Pocket protector, I
oh,
guess.
okay, that thing.
But
I've never actually
it
seen
had
those.
small Allen wrenches in it.
Mhm.
And so I was working on it. I was like, man, I got to go get this tool, And then the thought just went, boom, check Dad's toolbox. And I just started laughing. Almost started crying because I thought, man, my dad transitioned in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And this was maybe about 5 years ago or so. And I started laughing, and I thought, this dude is still teaching me. He's still teaching me. So when I got the tool, can't see because I'm crying. I miss you, Dad. I love you, man. And but I fixed it, and then I just kind of laughed about it and thought, wow, boy, I tell you what, when we put the time in, and you put the work in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a biological child. It could be a niece, nephew, adopted, a friend. It could be just when you put that time in, and they start soaking it up. Oh, it's a beautiful thing to see, And with my children and my grandchildren, and I watch them, and it gives me a different perspective when I watch them now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of watch what they do and learn their little personalities. My grands.
Yeah, yeah.
If I said it about my children, I'd be like, hey, wait, Dad, hold on, wait a minute.
So since we're on the topic of parents and you still learning from your dad, what was one of the hardest lessons for you to finally learn from your dad that took you like a long time?
Well, is there a lesson that took you a long time? Or?
We don't have enough ink nor paper, but one of the things that my dad taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this dude was a certain level of forgiveness that I'm still trying to get there. Because I watched him go through some things with people, and it bothered me so much. But he was always just so, son, they don't understand. They'll be okay. Like, yeah, Dad, but I'm gonna protect my dad, or it's my dad. And,
Yeah.
But he would always be like, no, you have to understand, son. They don't know. And I'm getting there, but I watched him and just go and go and go. And I was like, man, this dude is something. And see, my mother is the counterbalance. My mother's like, try it again. and I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, my mother is my mother.
Right.
She taught us how to cook. She's like, no, you're not. When you go out in the world, you represent me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't care about you being a boy. You're gonna cook. You're gonna know how to clean, because that doesn't. You don't have to have somebody to do those things in your life. You gonna know how to do them.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was the flip side of that, working on cars, maintenance on a house and stuff like that, working and things like that. So the combination of the two, man, they were just pouring so much.
That's which is
You know.
which is outstanding to. I mean, honestly, if you were born into that, which is great. Now, what would you say to someone who wasn't born into that? How do they go? Do they just hopefully they run into somebody with the wisdom, or what? And we got about 5 minutes here. So
Okay.
is that a possible? Can you give that answer, or is that?
Yeah, I'll say it real quick.
Sure.
One of the main things is that you would have to be able to understand that you need to find that.
So be aware of the awareness.
Yeah, you need to be able to. I need to find a way to put this together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it'll come. It'll come to you.
There we go. That's
You'll
the
find
answer.
it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because that's one thing my dad says too. You know, just the same thing you guys both have. A lot of the same wisdom, different walks of life and whatnot. But it's like, hey, you have to know what you want, and then it comes. And it's like, yes, sir.
Same
Yes, it
lessons,
does.
different sources. Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I mean, if you'll have. If you're open to it, I'd love to have you on again sometime.
Mhm.
I know you like the backstage, and I would like to be behind the curtain. I mean, but you got so much wisdom, man.
No,
You got
it's
so
not
much.
mine.
It's not yours.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but-
not mine.
Well, you have a good way of wrapping it up and presenting it.
Mm.
You know, will that count? Can you take that? Will you accept that one?
Accept that compliment.
I'll accept it for now.
All right. All right.
I'm still, when you said that, first thing in my mind was, well, my mother kind of taught me that. I mean, and I liken that to how mothers, you know, how the homemaking aspect of a woman is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for me when they apply it to their sons. You know?
Yeah.
So as a guy, you come up and you
Yeah.
go, I can rattle the pots. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, I don't mop the floor. I don't need anybody to do
Yeah,
that.
you can balance both now. And
Right.
you can do both.
Right. So it's not like, why are you getting married? Because I need somebody to cook. Really? I mean,
That's your reason? Yeah.
To each his own, but,
Sure.
you know, my parents kind of prepared us to
Be independent.
get it done.
Yeah.
And then when you incorporate someone in your life, add to it, and you can
Mhm.
do more.
Yeah, see, you got too much. You have too much to not have on, not to be on again. So, so we got one song out of you before I decided we won't cut this into two. Well, we might cut it into two. What happened earlier was like, well, we started a little later than expected, but it all worked out at the end.
Mhm.
So I asked you for two songs, expecting that we would do two different episodes. So in case we do two different episodes, what's another song for the masses? And I know you said you'd come up with them on the fly, so you got time. If you can.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
So you got time. 30 seconds. I don't know. I was thinking something with lyrics
Okay.
to give balance.
Sure, yeah, you gave an instrumental. Now you have to give lyrics. Sure. Do you have...
I'll leave this to the listeners.
Sure.
Anything that you listen to that really moves you surrounding love.
Okay.
Okay.
The reason why, I guess I never really told you. Reason why I ask for songs. I have a playlist I'm building, and I'll put, just for the viewers to know, I'll put a song in there that moves me, that's about love. I kind of have one in mind right now, but I forgot the name. And the next segment, the message to send the people home with. You kind of gave a really solid one somewhere in there about the whole enjoy the ride deal. But is there another message you want to leave the viewers with, or is that?
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Okay.
Just enjoy it. Don't be so hard on yourself. A lot of times we're so hard on ourselves, we just mess it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in that boat.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, like I'm
Right.
getting better with it.
That's not a boat. It's a ship because there's a lot of us in it. You know, just some of us don't want to admit that we're in it.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna slide into the outro here.
Okay.
So everybody, get your wine glasses. to future and health, good fortune and wealth, to discipline and sacrifice, to lessons that last for life, to live by honor and for glory. Death will come. Be extraordinary. All right, ladies and germs, thank you for watching, listening, wherever you are, morning, night, evening, what have you. Any goodbye messages before we wrap it up here?
You're asking for a lot of messages from
Well, no, just say like you can. This is your time to say goodbye, so they can hear you and be like, "Oh, that's so nice of them for saying goodbye."
No, I thank you for inviting me on.
Of course.
This was an experience.
Oh yeah, and another one you'll have to have.
a good experience, I hope.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything such thing as a bad experience?
Oh damn.
Perspective. No.
Damn.
No, I was just
Still going.
I was being silly.
I thought we finished. Damn, we still.
I was being silly.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. Yeah, if you'd like to do it again, yeah.
I'd love to.
Awesome.
And this is, I mean, just amazing. Glad to have you on. Seriously, because we talked. I called you that one time. Like, hey, you want to come on the show? And we just talked for like nearly an hour and a half. I was like, didn't even try. Just came. You just got so much wisdom, man. It's not yours. Okay. Well, I'll have to find another way to present that.
It's okay, because I do the same thing, but coming to the realization that whatever you learn, it's really not yours. It's yours to apply,
right?
But it's not yours. It's always there. You just pull it, use it,
and apply it,
and always give it back better than the way you received it.
Oh, always give it back. Okay, that's like through teaching.
In better condition than the way you received it. That's with anything. If you meet a person and things don't work out, if you part company, you both should part company in a better condition than you were before you met.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
All right, my lovelies and my not lovelies. Take care. Be safe. I hope you do well, are well, and loved. Toodaloo. Stay frosty.
Thanks for having us.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Man. All right, you did it. Now it's over. Now you can go home.